Okay, so welcome back. We are going to do the final steps in the strawberry bookmark, which is the background and the little bits of details. I'm going to show you, like I did on the blackberries, how to do your final details and some little bits of outlining and some touch-up work. So I picked 3 colors for this background that I thought would go good. Now, of course, you can choose your own colors if you like, but I picked 3, and I thought after many colors playing around with, I liked this choice. I did want to do like a sunset background, but it just wasn't working out. I kept getting problems with my green and my orange mixing. It was not good. Anyways, so let me show you here. Let's zoom in a little bit. Ooh, look at that. Okay, I picked 906, 903, and a lot of people's least used color, 1040, your electric blue. So let's grab those 3 colors, which is going to be, again, dun, 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 these 3 blues, which is 906, 903, and 1040. If you can see that. There's a little bit of a shadow in here because it's nighttime, but I turned on all the lights that I could to get it as bright as possible, but that might be adding to the shadowy effect in here. Okay, so let's start off with 906, shall we? I'm going to actually flip my table around here because, again, that little lip is in my way. I'm going to turn this around. I like to use that little lip for my pencils. But I got my nice sand eraser, too. That's for the outside here. Now, I showed you that earlier where these sand erasers are great for removing excess colored pencil off your white. You don't want to press real hard, though, because it is a sanded eraser, so you want to be really careful when you use these and do small circles with them. And make sure to get all that off your page. You don't want to blend that sand in there. Okay, so I'm going to start, of course, as always, from the inside of the page, working my way out, because I'm going to use my darker colors and my lighter colors are going to be on the outside. So that's what I've chosen to do, and I'm going to start with my Copenhagen blue, which is the 906, and I'm going to start right on the inside where this little bit is. And I'm not doing a real thick, heavy coat because I'm going to apply a second color over that. But I am going to make these areas just a little bit darker, so you don't have to fill them in 100%, like burnishing the page. You don't have to worry about that. But when you're doing this color, try to, let me get a layer down here for you so you can see how I'm going to do this. Because I want you to really focus on trying to get a real seamless blend here. I don't want you to have a shadow or an overcast like we did on the blackberries. I want all these colors to fade together like the blackcurrant did. Okay. See how I got a really light layer to start with? I want you to start doing it with like that. If you're more advanced, you know what I'm talking about. If you're beginning and just learning blending techniques, follow along. But if you're a more advanced colorist, you can go ahead and just do your background if you want to use these colors, because you probably already know how to lay these colors out and blend them really good. So all I'm doing again is I'm just putting a nice light layer of this Copenhagen blue in here. And I am going to come back over certain spots of this with Copenhagen blue. I'm just kind of laying out a base color, so to say, a base layer of where I want to start putting this color in. And it's basically going to be all around all of the design. But I don't want to go heavy right now. I just want to get my color laid in, and then I can kind of look and see where I want to tweak that color, where I want it lighter, where I want it darker, because you really want a seamless blend on this. So again, I'm just turning my page here, so I hope I'm staying in view for you. So I'm going to come up here a little bit. And I'm just going to go around this leaf with a nice light layer. Notice I'm not going to go all the way up that stem yet. I just kind of want to see where I want to put this darker blue. And I think this is a good start. It doesn't necessarily have to be every inch of where the design is, but I want to get a nice, you can see I'm kind of going over my layer here. I'm just giving a nice blended, but as you're building your layers up very lightly, the closer it is to the actual design should be your darker layer. So as you're bringing it out, it should be a lighter, much lighter. And that's how you're going to be able to lay in your second color and have it have that seamless blend, which if you do it right, you should not have any tired hands or hand fatigue. A lot of times you'll get that hand fatigue because you're pressing too hard. So if you're just using small circles, light layers, you can avoid getting a lot of that hand fatigue. So just work those layers. And this is where those backgrounds can take a very long time. So just lock in your patience and just work the process. Because again, your end result is what you want. And that's the beautiful ending. And it does take time and practice to work those results. And that's really what you're after. So I'm going to come back down here and I'm going to get in between those two leaves right there. And I'm just going to go over it a few times and get it a little bit darker in between those two leaves. I don't want to add too much in there. I definitely want it darker in there. But I don't want it so dark that it's too dark to blend my second color, if that makes sense to you. So I'm fading it out with the lighter blend, and I'm just following the edge of that leaf there. So you can see I don't have a real sharp line, but I am getting up in between there with a nice heavy coat. And then as I bring that color down, it lightens up and I just kind of drag it out. Okay, and I'm going to do the same right next to it. Around the edge of that leaf, I'm just going to trace that leaf with that darker blue so I can get a buildup of that darker color there, right in between, because it's kind of a locked in space. So it's got the flower on one side, the strawberry and the leaf on the other. So I can go ahead and build that color up a little bit more inside there. Although I can still lay my second color over it, which is what I'm going to do, it's going to be darker because you have something to break up that line. So you don't really have a line that you have to blend out. So you don't have to worry about that too much. And wherever you do this, make sure you're even. Your coats are even, so to say. So like right here, I'm going to put a little more blue. A little more of this dark color so it kind of matches up because this is more of an open space. It's not all the way closed in. There we go. And then right in between this flower is a little tiny spot of light. I'm going to give that a nice heavy coat right there of that blue. Gretel's over here being bad. I don't know what she has. She's been a little monster lately. Okay. Now, I'm going to turn this just a little bit because I don't like to rub my hand across my pictures. So hopefully I'm still in the view here. I want to come right up here under this leaf. I don't know what she is playing with. Air. My foot. She's right off to my left. You just can't see her. She doesn't have anything. Oh, she's got a mouse. I see it now. She's got it wedged in between the cushion. She's such a little monster. Okay, so you can see I'm just kind of going over it repeatedly, building up that color right next to the leaf. So it's going to get darker and darker as I lay that color in. And then I'm going to fade it out so it's lighter. Because I want to be able to blend that. I don't want you to see a sharp line there. Again, I'm just following the outline of the plant. I'm not doing anything real fancy. I'll come around this just a little bit. Not too much. I think I'm going to get in between here. I don't want to get up too much. I don't want to get it on that pink flower. My pencil's not real sharp, so kind of tricky. Okay. All right. So you can see where I just put just a little bit around this edge here. But can you hear her dashing around here like a mad cat? She gets like the zoomies. Never thought I'd get another cat, but you know, such is life. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there just on this little portion. I'm going to take my 903 and right in here where we started with that little spot there, I'm going to go over it. As you can see, I got a nice sharp tip to get in there. Right up close to that leaf. I'm kind of mixing those two colors, that Copenhagen blue with this true blue. There we go. Gives it that nice finished look. Now I'm going to come down in here. I'm just going over what I already laid in. I'm going to go around the leaf really quick. And if you notice, I'm doing little circles as much as I can in those really tight spaces. So I'm mixing those two colors. I know it kind of seems pointless with the two blues, but they work very well together. Okay, Now I'm going to drag this color out. And the reason I wanted to use that darker blue is to give just a little bit of darkness around some of the leaves and the berries, so to say. But I don't want to give it too much dark. I don't want it to overwhelm. But as you notice, as I get to the edge, I'm really lightening up my pressure. I mean, I'm not ever using a heavy pressure because my tips would break if you're familiar with Prismas. So you know I'm not being a pressure monster. But again, I'm going to go back over what I already have. And I'm building up my layer again. Small circles. And I'm just building that layer. And again, this is the time-consuming background process. And again, you can do whatever you want for a background. You don't have to do what I'm doing. Do what you like. I just want to do solid backgrounds because I'm going to laminate these. And I think having a solid background is going to look really neat. Especially with them being laminated. Okay, again, I'm just repeating the layer over layer over layer. Now, when I apply my final color, my goal is not to apply it over the darkest part, but I might. It just depends how much. Yeah, I probably will use it. We'll see. Because the electric blue, it's really a pale color. But it's a good color. So I don't really always like to use it on its own. It's not ideal. But that's why I'm going to use a really subtle, light layer of this true blue here. And I'm going to use that 1040, the electric blue, to go over it. And if you notice how light it is on the outside edge there with that true blue, very light. I'm not trying to have a heavy layer there because I want the color to blend. So anyways, everywhere I put that dark blue, I'm going to lay this true blue. Again, just follow along, follow your outline of your plants and blend that color really well. Now, again, here's that spot where it's kind of locked in on all sides with the design. So you can go ahead and just blend it all in because you're not going to have a blending line to worry about. Don't do too heavy because you're going to want to put that last color on there. And make sure you get your little tight spaces in there. But see what I mean? There's nothing really you got plant life breaking that line there. So it's on this side that it's open. So you're going to want to watch where you lay your color in as it opens up, because that's where you can get your lines, your fading, I guess, your blending line. You don't want to go too heavy or you'll see that sharp line and then you'll struggle to blend it out if you go too heavy. And we've all done it, even I've done it. I'll lay my color down and I'll be like, ugh, it's too heavy and there's nothing I can do now. I mean, you could always fix it by laying super dark color over it. Just to cover up the fact that you laid super dark color down. Unless you want to use a lot of Scotch tape. Okay, so let's see if I could turn it this way because I don't want to drag my hand over that color yet. Again, I'm just going to go really light. It's really hard sometimes, the angle that I'm at. Yipes. Okay, I gotta try to, my pencil's being weird. It's like I got a sharp spot on it. Let me see if I can work that spot off. All right. I think I got it. You ever get that where you work too much on one side of the pencil and you get like a sharp spot? Then I got too heavy of a layer going on. So I'm going to have to work that blend a little bit better there on that side. Okay, so up here, I'm going to come around this leaf where I have that dark color laid in, and I'm going over it. Again, just repeating what I already did, and I'm just following the contour of that leaf. Rotating, rotating. So I'm going to try to do this without messing it up here. So as you see, careful to lighten up as I go out. And then when I come up, I'm going to make my color not so dark. One, because I'm only got the one color as I drag the color out. And two, I want to add that next final color. And I don't want it super dark. So here's where I have a pretty good space of white. So I'm just going to keep laying my light layer in. And I'm going to do this on both sides until it looks about even. And then I can go back and fill in my second layer of color how I like it before I apply my third color or final layer. But you're going to want to do this on the whole entire area. So wherever you put that dark color, you should be able to blend it out with your second color. Just like I'm doing here. Follow your lines. And then pull that color out into your paper nicely. So as you can see, I hope you can see that on the camera. Let me try to move my pencil grip down. Okay, so as I'm doing this, see how I'm just doing little light circles? That's all I'm doing. And like I said, this is the most time-consuming part. If you're a heavy-handed person, a lot of people just quickly do this and they scribble. And you end up getting blending lines. And then they have to grab a blending pencil. There is ways around that, like what I'm doing right now. So if you blend out your colors first by laying in your base colors, and I'll show you a trick. So let me get this coat in here, this nice light coat. So basically what I'm doing is I'm laying in my color, because I first put that dark blue in. Now this is my second blue that I'm working with. And you can see I'm fading out that dark blue with this second blue. It's blending them together so you don't see that dark blue line with this second blue. Anyways, I'm building my color up, but as I'm going out towards the edge, my blue's getting lighter and lighter. And that's exactly what I want. So I'm just kind of working around, and I'm leaving that white edge around it because I want enough room there that my final color shows up. So I'm going to come back down here around the green because you notice I didn't put that dark blue everywhere. But you're going to end up moving a lot of that dark blue color around. So just keep going over it. Because what you're going to end up doing, and I could do this small little corner since I'm going to do part of this on camera for you. Let's just do this corner here so you can see. Okay, so let me blend this out, and then we'll throw in that third color, and you can see what I'm talking about. So, and I'll show you that little trick to move it along faster so you don't have to do constant small circles. I'm going to get in that right up against that leaf there, that stem. Tricky little part. Okay. So I'm going to blend this out. So again, all I'm doing is small circles, building up my layer. I'm not trying to burnish my paper at this point. I'm just keeping a nice even layer of color. And I'm keeping that edge lighter. But as you get used to doing this, you can see how fast I'm going. You'll get faster and faster at doing your circles. And the reason you move it in circles is because it gets into the grain of the paper better. And by repeating the circles, you'll get in there more and more and more and more and more and more. Okay. So going back down into the dark and pulling the dark up. Okay. Let me pull some of this back up out of here. So I'm pulling some of that dark up out. I'm going to get right up close in here with my dark blue, or with my second blue, right around the edge. So you see how dark that is? Okay. Right around there. Right around the plant life. Okay. And then I'm pulling that color out. And as I pull it out, I'm just making sure that it's a lighter towards the edge so I can use that final color. And that's what we're going to do here. Just a second so I can show you. Okay. All right. So the electric blue. With my electric blue, crazy as it seems, I'm going to start right at the edge here and fill in my white space. Just really lightly. Just where I want to do this little corner. I mean, I'm going to do the whole entire bookmark, but I'm going to work it corner by corner, section by section. Seems to go faster that way. Okay, now I'm going to come all the way back down here, not all the way down to the darkest part, but right where it starts to lighten up. I'm going to grab that dark color and I'm going to pull it forward into the faded blue. See how it's starting to change? Now, once I've done this all over, once I've grabbed that color, so pay close attention to working around the leaf. But once I've got this color pulled out, and I can see that I have a nice seamless mix, and I don't have a sharp line going, because this color can be finicky. And that's because of the pigment that's in there. Okay. Get around this edge. It's really hard here. My tip's getting dull, so I should have sharpened these. Okay. So you see how I kind of got a blotchy look there. So if you wanted to, and something to remember, if you're going to use straight lining, stay in one direction. Don't do it this way, then that way, because you're going to see those lines. When you look at your picture, you're going to see that you went in 4 different directions. It's best if you're going to use different directions, finalize it in one direction, because you're going to see everywhere you put a pencil mark. So I'm going to work at a diagonal, and I'm going to use those straight line technique. See how fast I'm going now? And the reason I could do this is because I laid in that color. See how it blended it right out? And I don't have that sharp line there. The reason I don't have it is because I've already blended my colors together. I've blended those lines where you would normally see it. I've blended them. So now I'm getting away with doing that technique. But you see how I say, keep it all in one direction? That's really important. But I'm going to have to do some small circles, which means I'm going to have to go back over the whole entire thing in small circles. Or go back over this, all at a diagonal. Because you'll see my pencil marks on my finished product. You'll either see circle marks or you'll see straight lines. And that'll really make a difference in the shine on your image. So if you have a problem when you're not seeing your burnished look is just not shining the way you want it, make sure that you're going in the same direction. Because it will reflect differently when the light hits it, because of the way the pencil is hitting. I know it sounds funny, but it's true. I wouldn't lie to you. Definitely wouldn't lie about that. Just like when you take crayons in a coloring book. If you start coloring in different directions, you can see it. Okay, a little messy going on there. It's so hard to get up against this edge with my pencil. Okay. All right, so you can see that corner there. You can see the little bit of contrast between the dark and the light. That's what you want. You don't see that really sharp line, but you just see the subtle contrast, the subtle fading of the different blues. That's what you want to do. Now, for your details, you can take your espresso, or you can take your peacock green, and you can go back in here. I'm using peacock green. And you could put in some of your lines right back in, just to really make those details stand back out. Make sure you do these in the end, or you'll just blend that peacock green right into your blue. So you see how that just made it stand right back out? So if you want those black lines to show, which I want them to show on here, because when I laminate them again, I want the focal point to be the plant life. So the background, I kind of want it to fade off, which that's why I'm using just solid backgrounds and not doing anything fancy. So I want you to work on your backgrounds. And then I'm going to do most of my background. And with the magic of videos, I will come back and we will finish this last little bit together. So add your Copenhagen blue, like go in here and get your darker spaces filled in first. You know, make sure you're doing that. Fill in all your closed in spaces with your darker blue. Then go over it with your true blue. And then build your true blue out. And then finalize it with your electric blue. Be patient and work the process. I promise if you work on it slowly, you will get a really beautiful effect. Now use any color you want. You do not have to use the colors I picked. I think it's a personal preference what you like. For me, I just thought I would do blue. I don't know. It's just is what it is. But the acorns will be the last one I do in this series. So we will be right back. Okay. So with the magic of the video, as you can see here, let me adjust my camera because it is bouncing around. Let me move this. Sorry. Apologies. I do not like the bouncies, and I'm sure it's making you sick. There, that's better. Okay. So with the magic of the cameras, you can see you should have finished your background with the little tips I showed you on how to do the dark to medium to light fade. Now, if you have a heathen for a cat like I do, you might end up with some scratch marks in your finished product, but that's okay. We just move on from there. There's really no way to fix that. You can try to burnish it out. Oops, I bumped it again. You can try to blend it out. You can try to do all kinds of magical fixes, but I tried everything, it didn't work. So I'm going to show you some final details here. Let me zoom in. But you can thank Gretel for all the little scratches and nicks and marks in my beautiful work here. Okay, so I have my peacock green, which you can use your espresso. You can use your 90% cool gray. I don't recommend using black, but you can use your dark green or your super dark brown or sepia. And again, all you're going to do is follow the original lines. If you really want to make this pop out from your background, you're just going to go around your edges. That's all you're doing here. So as you see, I just highlighted my edges, and you're going to do that on the leaves as well. You're just going to follow along. Don't make the lines thick, just use a light touch, because all you're doing is just giving it that extra little pop to make it stand out, just like that. And you're just going to do that on every detail that you want to really stand off the page. Make sure you hit your little vines if you want them to pop out. And I'm only doing it everywhere where I put that blue color, just so I can make sure that you can see the details. Where I want the details to stick up off the page, I'm going over the original artist line. Because those black lines, after you've blended and applied a lot of color, they do eventually get lost. So I know a lot of colorists and artists, they do like to fade those black lines out. But I don't bother with it unless they're super, super thick black lines. Because as you're coloring, they're going to get shaved away anyhow. Okay. Now, for your berries, you can use the dark green like I am, or you can use your espresso. But keep in mind where your, especially this one, because she's got some of her seeds that come off the sides of her berries. I'm going to retouch those with my yellow Posca, just the ones that are coming off to the side there, so that they stick out just a little bit more. And I'm paying close attention not to go over those seeds, but I am going to go around these leaves a little bit. Just adding a little detail in here. And you can see I'm not using a heavy hand. I'm just very lightly, very gently applying that. And now my green berry. And the reason I'm sticking with the peacock green is because it gives it more of a natural effect with the colors I chose. And you can go around your little flower as well. It blends in with the colors, so you don't have to worry about that it's going to look weird. And now with this green berry, with the peacock green, you can go right over your leaf, just like that, and see how it makes that berry stand up off that leaf. I took a decongestant, so I'm not coughing as much, but now my nose is running. It's a no-win battle with the pollen here. And then we got a frost warning. I'm like, what is going on? So I planted all these beautiful fuchsia starts, and then I had to pull them all and put them all in my garage today so they don't die. I'm like, ugh, my poor little plants. Because I don't really have a green thumb. But some of the hardest flowers to grow from starts, I can do roses and fuchsias. Who knew? So I like to do fuchsia baskets for Mother's Day. I give them to all my lady friends and my mommies. I usually end up with a whole bunch because some people want them and some people are like, no, they're a pain in the butt. I'm like, who doesn't like beautiful fuchsia baskets? And mine always get crazy big because I like to buy the double trailing ones. Sometimes I do uprights, which a lot of people don't know, that your fuchsias will come back every year. You know, when they die back, all you have to do is bring them inside or in your garage. Keep the soil nice and moist, not soaking wet, just damp. Don't let them freeze, and they'll come back in the springtime. I'm just saying. That's how you see some of these beautiful large baskets. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting out of camera view because I'm talking. Let me move this up for you. So I'm down here. I went around this leaf and the side of this berry. I'm going to come up here now. But yeah, you can, when you bring your fuchsias inside in the garage or into a warm place for the winter, don't cut them back. Just let your leaves die off naturally. You know, when they fall off, just clean them up. And then, oops, I got a little too thick right there. So, nuts. Oh, well. So, in the springtime, when you start to see the new leaves growing in, then you'll be able to see where, like, some of the old branches have died away because they'll be really brittle, and you can snip those little tiny ones off. But don't cut your fuchsia back in the wintertime. Just let it hibernate. Leave them really long and stringy. You only want to cut them back as soon as you see the first green bud. That's when you get your best results. Because if you cut it back too far, she won't grow. You'll just kill it. Because most of the time you want to leave those nice, long, stringy branches. Because your fresh new leaves will grow right off of it. As long as it's still green inside, it's good. Okay. So I'm polishing up my final details here, despite what Gretel did to it when my back was turned. I don't understand. She had to sit right on it. Just makes no sense to me why she did that. But okie dokie. I should know better because she does it every single time. I'm gonna go around my strawberry. Try not to do too thick of a line here. I boogered up right there. Got really heavy. I might be able to fix that, but we'll see. I'm gonna touch up this little green strawberry. Just go around the edge here. I put a little bit touches on this leaf there. Make it stand out a little bit more. And just a little right here. And that's pretty much all there is to it. And now you can see that it's kind of standing up off the page. Once you put those highlights back in, let me rotate this for you. I'm going to take my yellow Posca. And again, now I have turned my page again. I'm going to touch up some of these little seeds on the outside here where the blue is. Just because they got kind of lost when I was blending a little bit. You can just add a little bit back in there. And any of them that kind of got faded away with hand rubbing. You just put some back in there. Don't put too many seeds on there. It'll look funny. So I'm just going over what was already there. Let's get this one here and that one. That looks good. Now I'm going to move down here to my other ones. I got this one right here. That one looks pretty good. This one on the side here. For the most part, these look pretty good. I didn't rub around it too much. I hate it when I rub my hand across my picture. Let's see. We got this little guy here. One down at the bottom. Couple tiny little dots in between here. And this last little berry at the bottom. If you need to, you can always go back and touch up your green berries too. So you can always grab your green Posca or your green gel, whatever you used, and just go back over your seeds on your green berries if you need to. But, oops, let me move my goodies. There you have it. And then let me zoom out a little bit for you so you can see the 3 that we've done so far. Okay, so there you have it, your finished product. So that's all 3 of them. And the last one are these gooseberries. I think I said acorns before, and I don't know why I said that, but acorns on the brain, I suppose. But again, with your sand eraser, if you want to remove any of your excess from the dust, you can, but be very gentle and don't rub on your picture. I just use it around the whites. And then if I do have to get it over my picture, I'm very careful and very light-handed with these sand erasers. They work wonderful on Prismas to remove it, but they can be very abrasive on your paper. So again, be very light-handed when you use these. This one is by Mono, which is some of my favorite erasers to use. So anyways, you guys, I love doing this strawberry one, and I hope you had a lot of fun blending this strawberry bookmark with me. I look forward to doing the gooseberries with you. I've never really done but one other gooseberry before, so this should be a challenge for me to come up with a good color palette. Now, I'm still playing around with some colors, and it may be a couple days before I get part 1 up, so bear with me, because I'm contemplating my color palette on the berries. Whether I want to do a pinkish, greenish, red berry or green berries or a combination of both. I haven't really decided yet, and I'm still tweaking my colors on it. So bear with me, but I already have a plan for the leaves because these are kind of oak leaf-like. So I'm getting a fall feeling for the gooseberries. I don't know why, but I am. So I may do more of a khaki green palette with those leaves. We shall see what plays best with the gooseberries. And then coming up with a background to match whatever color I choose. So, anyways, I'm glad you guys stuck around. I'm sorry I didn't drag out the background longer, but this video would have been like 3 hours long because the background takes forever. So keep working if you haven't finished your background, and then stick around for the first part of the gooseberries video. We will see you soon, and thanks for watching.